Okay, so I think that patient zero is April because what I originally did is I went into the negative patients and I bolded their names and I searched through with the find feature and I found all of their names and I bolded all of them. So people who came before, like for example, on Jacob's case, Max came before Diego, which technically means that he couldn't have been patient zero because if he interacted with someone who was negative, then he couldn't be positive himself originally, so that means he would be patient zero. So as you can see, I have this little table sort of thing set up where it's a bunch of names that are out because of the same rule. Like essentially, they came before bolded negative names. So like Stephanie and Tiana, because once again, if they came before and they interacted with Michaela, or someone who interacted with Michaela, then that means Michaela would be positive. But since at the time they obviously weren't positive, so they couldn't have been patient zero originally. So back to it being April, what I figured out is that Samantha and April, they were two of my last choices besides Adrian. And I found that they interacted. They were first base interactors, so they basically interacted with each other at one. So that means it was a bit harder to figure out between them who it was. But after looking through a couple of these other results, I found that April seemed to lie right after negative names. So that means that they are obvious, or she is obviously positive, because right after, in this case, Jesus's, she lies right after Diego, and it couldn't be Rita because Rita, as I said, or as you can see right here, Rita is out, so that means she cannot be patient zero. And then for Andre's case, she lies right after Michaela, so that means that she would have been the last person, and it makes sense because all these people would not be patient zero because, like I said, interacted before a negative, and April interacts right after the negative, which would make Andre's case positive. So I was also a bit confused because I couldn't figure out, since, like I said before, they interacted first base, since Adrian was also positive, he interacted with Samantha, but it makes sense because April would have infected Samantha right away, right off the bat, and then when Adrian and Samantha came into contact, that would make him positive. So Samantha might have been the only one who interacted with Adrian who was positive, but that doesn't mean that Samantha was in fact patient zero. So my final answer would be April as being patient zero.